Okay, so good morning, everyone. Welcome to this session. So today we are going to deal with SQL Basics. So as we have already completed the database creation in our agenda, right? If you open our agenda, this is our agenda. So we are at the database creation. Just one session is completed. Only one session. After the introduction and software installations, we just completed database creation. That too manual database creation. Okay, now what we'll do, we'll go with SQL basics. What is SQL and everything? We'll go with the SQL basics today. Okay, so yeah, so if you go with if you want to start with SQL, first of all, what is SQL and everything? I'll explain you. SQL is a structured query language. SQL is a structured query language. Okay, and today you will get, everyone will get a good clarity. Everyone will get a good clarity on the database subject. Okay, I'll make sure that you people are getting a very good clarity on it, right? So first, I'm talking to you people in English. Yes, I'm talking to you people in English, where English is the language which we are using to communicate with each other, because you people are able to understand English, so I'm talking in English. Few people are able to understand Telugu, I'm talking in Telugu. Few people are able to understand Hindi, so I'll talk in Hindi. So whatever the language you people are comfortable, I'm talking in that language. So what's happening is I'm able to communicate with you people. So you are able to understand my language, okay, so that you people will respond to me. In the same way, there is a database. This is a server, right? This is a server. Everyone agrees this is a server, and inside the server we have created a database. Inside the server there is a database. Yes, so this is a server. Inside the server we have database. Which database? You have some people have created ICICI, some people have created MX, some people have created DBS, some people, whatever. It's some database. There is a database here. It could be any database. Okay, let's take MX database. So MX or ICICI, any database. You can take ICICI database, whatever you want. So there is a database here. Inside the server we have created a database. So what users will do? Users are connecting to this database. They are the users. Okay, what users are doing? Users are connecting to the database. How? Users are connecting with the help of application. This is the application. Okay, this is the application, right? And what DBA will do? Here there is a DBA. Here is a DBA. For example, here is a DBA. So who are we? We are database administrators. Okay. So there is a user here who wants to connect to the database. And here is the database administrator, DBA, who is maintaining the database. Now, how users are connecting to the database is, users will first log into the application. That's banking application. For example, users are logging to the banking application and they are connecting to the database. Users are logging to the banking application, they're connecting to the database. Okay. And how users are getting connected to this database, we will learn in networking session. How they are connecting to the database, we will learn in networking session. But first of all, a user has to connect to the database. So when a user is connecting to the database, there should be username password. There should be a username password of this user. There should be a username password that is stored in the database, right? Who will create this user? DBA will create. Database administrator will create the username and password and tell the user, hey user, this is your username and password to log into the database. Now you can log into the database. Now user will log into the database. What happens when user logins to the database? user will not be able to log in. Why? Because DBA is the boss. As I told you, we are the boss. We are maintaining databases. Users are just developers. That's it. They are just developers. They are just connecting through application and they are doing their SQL queries. They are just writing their SQL queries. But when a user, if a user has to connect to the database, what DBA has to do? DBA has to grant permission. DBA has to grant the permission so that user will be able to connect. If we are not granting the permission, if the DBA is not granting the permission, user will not be able to connect to the database. Who is a user? User is nothing but developers, clients who connects. There might be a lot of developers, Java developers, or there might be some n number of developers who connects to database. For what purpose? For developing purpose. They want to develop an application. They want to develop something. So they have to connect to the database and then only they will be able to do it. Okay. Then only they'll be able to do it. So in order to connect users, in order to connect to the database, what DBA has to do? DBA has to create the username and password for this user, and DBA has to grant permissions to connect to the database. DBA has to grant permissions to connect to the database. Okay. Now DBA has created a username, password. DBA has granted the permissions to the user. Now user is able to connect to the database. After connecting to the database, what user will do? After connecting to the database, what user will do? What user will do is, user will do SQL, structured query language. User will do all kind of SQLs, structured query language, like user will create a table. User will create a table and user will insert the data into the table. Okay. So the data is stored in the form of tables. Data is stored in the form of tables. All these tables are stored in database. All these tables are stored in database. So whenever, for example, you are the end user. You are the end user. Okay. For the ICICI Bank, you are a customer. So the data is stored in the form of tables. So what happens is, if you are logging to the net banking application, connecting to the database, and it will read the data in the table. It will read the data in the table and it will display the data to you. It will display the data to you on your screen. So all these are happening with the help of SQL in the form of tables. They will create the tables, and in SQL there is a lot of things to learn. What is SQL? SQL is a structured query language. SQL is a structured query language. Okay. So today we will talk about SQL basics. SQL is a structured query language where we will use this language to talk to a database. Just like I am talking to you people in English, so that you people are able to understand. The same way DBAs or users or anyone are connecting to the database and they are talking to the database in such a language, database is able to understand. What language database is able to understand? Database is able to understand SQL language. SQL language. Okay. So that is why SQL is called structured query language. So I'll give you a basic overview of structured query language. SQL. SQL is structured query language in which we have sub languages. One is DDL, data definition language, DML, data manipulation language, okay, and DCL, data control language, and TCL, transaction control language, okay. And there is one more called DRL, data retrieval language, okay. Now in DDL, what comes in DDL? Creating means creating a table. Okay. To create a table, we use create. Okay. Next, alter. If you want to do any alterations, do any alterations, use alter. Next, drop. To drop the objects, we use drop. Truncate, rename. Okay. Select means selecting a data, whatever you want to see, you can select the data. Next, insert, update, delete. Okay. And grant, revoke. Grant is for granting the permissions, revoke is for revoking the permissions from the user. Okay, next, transaction control language, commit and rollback. So these are all things which we will see one by one right now, one by one. Okay, now first of all, let me connect to the database. For everyone, I mean, who are new, this is how the VMware looks like. This is how Linux Enterprise Linux looks like. Okay, we are working on Linux. Inside the Linux server, this is server. As I told you, in as per the diagram, we have a server, right? We have a server. So this is the server. This is the server. Inside the server, we have created a database now. Only till here, this class is completed. So you people don't have to worry. What I'll do, I'll give you the I'll help you with the software access. So what you people can do, first you people have to install the VMware, then you people have to install the Linux, then you people have to install software, Oracle, and start creating database. I'll help you. I'll help you guys to complete and be up to date. Okay. So let's begin with SQL Basics. Okay, SQL Basics. First let's connect to the database. How do we connect? Server. Okay, login as Oracle. Okay, fine. This is a DBA session. Let's assume that this is a DBA session. Our database is MX SQL plus slash as sysdba. So we are logging to the database as slash as sysdba, and we will start the database now. We'll start the database. Yeah, we'll start the database. Okay, and now how user wants to connect? We'll take one more session for user purpose. How user will connect to the database? First of all, there is no user in the database. DBA has to create. If you say show user is sys means DBA has to create. First, database administrator, what we are database administrators, right? We are database administrators, means we are the boss of the database. So we are maintaining the databases. We are the owners of the database. So when we are the owners of the database, if some user has to connect to the database, we have to create the username and password for them. So let's create a username and password. Create user ABC. ABC is the user, identified by password ABC123. User created. Now I will tell the user that, hey Mr. ABC user, I have created a ABC user in the database with the password ABC123. Now you can connect. So what user will do? User will connect like this. User will connect SQL plus ABC pass username ABC123 is a password. But it says there is no permission. Then what user will do? User will copy paste the error. User will copy paste and send this same error. User will copy and user will paste this error and write an email to DBA team. Hey, hi DBAs, username is there, but I'm not able to connect. Then what DBA has to do? DBA has to grant permissions. Grant, connect, comma, resource to ABC. Now DBA will say, hey ABC user, I have granted a permission to you to connect to the database. Now you can check once again. Now user will check with username and password. Okay, it says username is invalid. Let me connect once again. SQL plus ABC is the username, ABC123 is the password. Now user is able to connect. See, user is able to connected to SQL. Show user. Done. Okay, so show user is ABC. Now ABC user is able to connect to the database. Why? Because we have granted. For example, For example, if I see that this user is doing some mischievous things or some unwanted things in the database, some unwanted things user is doing, I can revoke the access again. I can revoke. How can I revoke? Simple. Revoke connect comma resource. When you grant permission as a DBA, when you grant a permission, you give to ABC. Grant connect comma resource to ABC. When you revoke, when you take the permission back, grant connect comma revoke connect comma resource from ABC. You are revoking the user, you are revoking the permissions from user. Now revoke completed. Now again he will be back to normal. SQL plus ABC 1 2 3. See, again he is getting a user is getting error because there is no privilege, permission is not there. So this is how we grant and revoke permissions from users. Okay, so this is how we grant. DBS will grant the permission and DBS will revoke the permission from users. Okay, so now I have given grant once again, so user will be able to connect now. Oh, ABC is the username. ABC 1 2 3. Yeah, show user is ABC now. ABC user is able to connect. So once users connect to the database, why actually users need a database? Why these developers need database? First of all, why these developers, all these users need database? Why they have to connect to the database? Because they have to do a lot of development activities, right? Just by learning a coding language, they can't do anything. They need to develop a lot of things. They need to develop the applications. In order to develop the applications, what they have to do? They have to finally, everyone has to come to database only. Finally, everyone has to come to the database only, because all the data, application users data is stored in database only. All the end users data is stored in database only. So without connecting to the database, there is nothing in this world can be done. It's very simple. So finally, they'll come to us only. Everyone has to come to DBA only. Everyone has to come to us asking for permission. Hey, can you please grant the permission to connect to the database? It will be in my hand. My hand in the sense, like, it will be in DBA's hand, whether to give permission or not to give permission. So DBA is the boss here. DBA is the boss. Okay. So database administrators plays a very important role. DBA will decide whether to give permission to this user or not. Then once I give permission, then only user will be able to connect to the database and they can continue all their development activities. Without connecting to the database, they cannot complete their development activities at all. Okay. So once users connect to the database, what they will do? I'll show you. Once users connected to the database, users are now connected to the database, right? Once users connected to the database, what they will do is they'll first create tables. So what did we learn now? We have completed this part, DCL, data control language we have completed. Granting permissions and revoking permissions is completed. Now we'll go with create. First, starting with create. DDL, creating a table in the database. How to create tables in the database? User will create tables in the database, right? How do users create tables? By this syntax, create table. Let's take a employee table. Create table employee. Okay. Here is the syntax. If you people don't know, you people don't worry. Here is the syntax. Okay. Create table name, column name, data type, column name, data type, column name, data type. That's it. Table will be created. For people who don't know what is data type, I'll tell you. Create table EMP. Okay, and you have to open a bracket here, open parenthesis. Okay, and start typing the column names, whatever the columns you need. Employee EMP ID, employee ID. Okay, employee ID. What is employee ID? ID means number, right? Number. It's a number. Employee ID is a number. So we'll give data type as number. And braces 10, comma. Name, employee name. Name is a character. So we will give varchar as a data type, varchar 2, and braces 10. Okay. Next, salary. Salary is also number. So what we'll give? We'll give number, braces 10. Close. enter. Table is created now. Table is created. So this is how you create a table. This is how you create a table. Okay. After the table is created, will user be able to see, user has to see the table. What is the data inside the table? User has to see what is the data inside the table. How do user will see? Select star from EMP. Nothing. When user is able to, when user is trying to select what is the data inside EMP, there is nothing. There is nothing inside EMP because there are no rows. User just created a table, but user did not inserted the data into the table. So for a better understanding, what I wanted to do is, so this is a EMP table, for example. This is a EMP table. This is a EMP table with the column names, employee ID, the column names employee ID, okay, and employee name and salary, right? Salary. This is the table. This is a table, right? User has created this table. User created the table like this. Now this is an empty table now. User did not inserted any employee IDs. So this is an empty table. This is called definition. This is the definition of the table. So user just created a table, but user did not started inserting. When user starts inserting one employee ID 1, employee ID 2, user starts inserting, then the data will be inserted into the table. Okay. Now, so we understood how to create the table, right? We understood how to create a table. Now we'll see how to insert the data into the table. Now we'll see how to insert the data into the table. This is how we'll insert. This is how we'll insert. And who is doing all this? User. User is doing all this. It's not DBA. Here is a DBA. DBA job. What is our job? Our job is completed. Our job is creating user, granting the permission. That's it. If user is doing something suspicious, or user is doing something some irritating things, just simply revoke the permission. That's it. So we are actually administration. We are doing administration of database. So once we grant permission, what user will do? User will create the tables. User will insert the data into the tables. Insert. Okay. Insert into EMP values, bracket open. Okay. Employee ID 1, comma, name. Give any name. AAA. Okay. First employee name AAA, and salary is starting with 10. Okay. Bracket close, semicolon, enter. One row created. Next, like this only, insert one more row. Insert into employee values. Okay. Bracket open. Employee ID 2. Next, single quotes BBB, second employee. Next, salary is 20. Bracket close, enter. Like this only, you insert employee number 3. Employee number 3, comma, single quotes. Why I'm giving single quotes for AAA employee name? Why I'm giving single quotes? Employee name is a character, so character always should be in single quotes. They have to be inside the quotes only. Okay. CCC. Okay. Salary is 30. Enter. Let me insert one more row. Employee number 4. Okay. And DDD. Okay. And salary is 40. Right. Done. Now very important and interesting thing is this user actually inserted the data, right? This user inserted the data, which means inside the table there are four employee IDs. There are 4 employee IDs, which means 4 employee names are there. 4 employees are there. In the company, there are 4 employees. Now, my point is, when these employees are there and this table is there, including the data, this table is there, including the data. Right now, the data is inserted. Will the public able to see this table data? Will the public able to see this data? No, they will not be able to see the data. They are not able to see the data. Why? Because this user has inserted the data. Okay, this user has inserted the data, but user did not commit the data. User did not commit the data. So user has to commit. User has to commit the data. Then everyone will be able to see. Everyone will be able to see this table. How to see the table? Select star from EMP. This is how it displays the data. This is how you displays the data. Okay, and you people might ask, sir, we can use Excel to store the data. Yeah, Excel is limited. Database is unlimited. That is why everyone uses database. All applications, you take any application, in this world, any application, you take any application in this world, at the end, they have to connect to database only. No option. There is no option. That is why databases are growing faster and faster and faster in the market. Without a database, everyone are depending on database only to store the data. This is only the data. I'm giving a sample example of data. This is only data. Now, how, for example, DBA want to see the data. DBA want to see the data. Obviously, select star from ABC user.emp table. DBA is also able to see now. DBA also able to see. Like that, all users, everyone has to see, everyone want to see that what is this data. For example, this is the customer's data. This is the customer's data. How customers will connect? How customers will connect to the database? With the help of application only, right? For example, this is my banking data. This is my banking data. How I will connect? Obviously, I will connect with the help of application only, net banking application. So once I have the net banking application here, I just click on login. Okay, once I have the net banking application, I click on login. So when I click on login, what happens? It will take me to the login page. It will take me to the my account. It will take to my account, right? So once I enter into my account, what I will do? I want to know what are the last 10 transactions. Okay, for example, I want to know what are the last 10 transactions that I have made. Okay, so let me see view recent activity. Okay, and once I click this, so it will be routed me. It will route to this page. Okay, so when I want to see what happened in between October 2020 to this one, I'm able to see these lines, right? Date, description, amount, which is nothing but this only. This only. Columns. These are the column names. Okay, these are the column names, right? You see, it's a live example. You see, these are the column names, and this is the data. Date. Okay, payment received. How much is the amount? We can also create this table. For example, we'll create the same table. See, we'll create the same table. Create table payments, or create table. You can create a table with payments. Create table payments. Okay, and what is this? Date. Okay, date you can use varchar, no problem. Date we can use varchar 2. Okay, 10 comma description description. Okay, you can use 40. Okay, comma, and the amount will be in numbers, right? Obviously in numbers. Amount will be in numbers. Numbers. Okay, semicolon, enter. Date invalid identifier, right? We'll do one thing. Date we can use date data type also, or else we'll do one thing. We'll use like this, date. Description. Acha, I did not give the varchar, right? For description, it should be varchar 2. Varchar 2 40. Okay. Amount. Again, I did not give space here. With comma. Yeah. Missing right parenthesis. Where it is missing? Right parenthesis. Here. Okay, done. Select star from payments table. Payments table. Nothing is there. Okay, fine. So there's nothing here. Now user will insert. For example, user insert into payments. And user insert into payments. You can start. What is this? 23 OCT, for example, 23 OCT. Okay, and description payment received. Or single quotes, right? It should be in single quotes. Payment RECIEVED received. Okay. Next, amount is 2044. We'll go with October. Okay. Okay. I'm so sorry. Market to always be in. Let's see like this. Single quotes OCT. I'm missing the parentheses here again. Actually, you people don't worry. This is not our job. This is completely user's job only. You people don't worry. And is the table name correct only, right? Is the table name correct, guys? 1 second. Select star from tab. You can see select star from tab. Yeah, this is the table name, right? Insert to payments, single quotes. Okay. What is the value you want to give? October, right? October, comma, single quotes, payment received, RECIEVED, received. Okay. And the amount is 2400. Comma. Okay. Again, it is missing, right? Describe what is this table? Payments, right? Payments. Yeah. Insert into payment values, man. Insert into payment values. This is the one, correct? Okay. What you can do? Let's try this. Yeah, one row created, right? So there's a values which is missing. So what is the next row? Anyone remember? The same date, I think, on October 23rd only. I did something. If you see, pay with points, right? So it should be pay with points. Something like this. Okay, and it is around 955.
There shouldn't be any gap, Trishan.
No, that's okay. Just for your information, I'm giving.
Okay.
See, this is not our job. Basically, the application people has to, write the source code here. If you see, you paste source, there will be a source code that coming up here, right? So they need to write the static code or the dynamic code so that it generally connects to this. And this is what happens inside the database. I'm just wanted to show you this. How the tables looks like. SQL Basics select. Start from payment or payment, something like that. Okay. So this is how the table looks like. So from where the data is coming, that is important. For me, from where the data is coming is important. Who is doing what? I don't care. Right? This is user is doing it. The user is doing this, right? It's not a DBA. How user will be able to do it? When I give a proper permission. User is able to, this developer is able to connect to the database and do all these things. Developer has to connect to the database and they have to create a table. Developers has to make sure that whatever the data is there, that is coming from the database. So this is how data will be displayed. When I say October, something like this, and it has to be coming from this table. From this table, it has to be displayed like this. So this is the importance of a database. This is the importance of the database. Everything you do, anything you take anything. For example, you want to go to September and see what happened. You take anything, what you need? Database. Simple. You need a database. Without a database, there is nothing you can do it. So just wanted to show that example. I just created this table. just to show you an example. So what happened on what? So that is what I mean to say. So users are actually, users are connecting to this database and they're doing all these kind of development activities. So in order to make sure that they are developing a proper application, they need to do the development phase, right? They need to complete the development phase. They need to go to the testing phase, and then they need to do a lot of things. And finally, at the end, when we release the application, to the users should not face any issue. Who are users? End users are we. We are the net banking customers. So users should not face any issue. So when users should not face any issue, we have to complete all these development phase activities. They need to test everything is working fine or not. So this is how they do a testing. And if everything is working fine, they'll release the application to the public, and public starts using the application. And whenever I need, I can open the statement, and the data will be coming. My connection. I'll show you once again. So what happens? First? This is my net banking application. When I click on login, what happens? The connection will connect to this database. Instead of payments, I should have used the account name, the table. So it will connect to my table. And whatever the data I want to see, when I say view all recent activity and I click on the last statement or whatever, it will get the information. Whatever the information is there, it is getting from this table. As simple as such. So I mean, it's very clear that without a database, we cannot do anything. It's very simple. Okay, so let's continue with the next further statements. Okay, so one, I have shown you creating a table. Second, I have shown you how to insert the data. And who is doing all these things? Is DBA doing this? Creating table, inserting the data. Is DBA doing this? No, DBA is not doing it. User is doing it. And DBA, what DBA is doing? DBA is granting the permission to the user. DBA is creating the user, and DBA is granting the permission to the user. And we are monitoring the users. The main important point is we are monitoring the users. What they are doing. If they are doing something suspicious, just revoke the permission. Simple. Revoke the permission. That is DBA's job. Now, what did we complete in SQL? How to create a table, how to insert the data into the table, and how to select. In select, there are a lot of things. Before we select, we'll go with update. For example, select start from EMP. Right. So one of the employee got hike or salary increment. From 20 it has to be increased to 25. From 20 it has to be increased to 25. How to update this? Is update EMP, set salary is equal to 25, where where employee ID, which employee ID you want to increase? 2. Hit enter, committed. And then if the same user can see the updated value. The same user can see the updated value. Remember, a same user who updated this value can see the updated value, but not remaining users. Remaining users will see the old value only, 20 only. Remaining users will see a old value only. Only this user can see the updated value because this user updated. Now, to public, the updated value has to be seen, or it has to be open to the public. The updated value has to be open to the public. Then there is something called commit should be done. The transaction should be committed. This transaction should be committed. Then public will also see the updated value. Public will also see the updated value. So this is how we do an update statement. This is how we do an update statement. Update EMP, set whatever the column that you want to change, the new value where employee ID is equal to 2. Now I want to update, salary from 30 to 35 for employee number 3. How do I do it? Update EMP, set salary is equal to 35, where employee ID is equal to 3. Done. Will everyone able to, will all the users remaining public will be able to see the old value? They'll not be able to see the new value. Okay, they'll be able to see the old value only. Why? Because this user has updated. This user has updated the value, but this user did not commit the value. Now user committed the value. All remaining users will be able to see the new value now. So this is how we use. And now, for example, now I'll show you the rollback. I'll show you the rollback. Now, user 1 salary has to be increased. User 1 salary has to be increased. User 1 salary has to be increased from 10 to 15. Okay. How am I doing it? Update EMP, set salary is equal to 15, where employee ID is equal to, I have to use 1, but instead of 1 I used 4. There's a mistake now. There's a mistake which I have done. Okay, instead of increasing the salary of employee number 1, I have increased the salary of employee number 4. You can check that. Now from 40 it is decreased to employee number 4, and this employee will come back to the HR talking that, hey, my salary is decreased. Why? Okay, so we have updated, but we did not commit it, right? So we can roll back the statement again. Roll back. And now if you see select start from EMP, again the old value came back. Old value is back. You can roll back. So this is what the update, commit and roll back. So we have completed how to update a table and how to commit and how to roll back. Granting the permission, DBA, revoking the permission. This is completed. Next, how to create a table. This is completed. How to select is I'll show you. How to insert the table. We are completed. How to insert the table, data into the table. How to update the values, we have completed. Now I'll tell you select. In select, there are a lot of things which you can do basically. Select star from EMP. What it will do? It will display the entire values. The entire data it will be displayed. Select star from EMP. If you want to see only the row that belongs to employee number 2, so you can use where clause. Select star from EMP where employee ID is equal to 2. Okay, where employee ID is equal to 2. It will display only employee ID number 2. Or else if you want to see select star from EMP where you want to go with salary greater than 10 for the employees who are having salary greater than 10. So select star from EMP where salary greater than 10. So it will display only the values of salary which is greater than 10. Okay, so how all these tables are actually getting created, how the data is actually getting stored? With the help of database only. Who created the database? DBAs. DBA created the database. Without DBA creating a database, how this user will come into the picture, how this data will be stored in the database? Nothing is happening without a database. So DBA has to create the data. Sorry, DBA has to create the database and give some space to users. DBA has created the database, right? DBA has created these files. Select name from $, data file. If you people remember, in Aura data we have created, right? Data file. Okay, these are the files, data files, right? So we are giving the space. Okay, we have created this database and we are giving some space to users, so that users are using the space of these data files and they are creating these tables. Users are able to create the tables, right? So when users are creating the tables, the data is getting stored. When the data is getting stored, the applications are connecting to the database and they're able to fetch the data. Okay, this is what happening. For example, there is a payment table. So what it will do, I'll tell you. I've logged into the database. When I clicked on login from my application, I have clicked on login. So what happening? It is logging to my with this username and password. It is logging to my application. Okay. Now what I'm doing, I'm actually doing this from 6th October to 5th November. What happened from 6th October to 5th November? What happened? I clicked like this. So this is what came. So in the back end, what is happening? I'll tell you. Select star from card activity. Select star from card activity where date is equal to, or where summary is from October 6, 2020 to 5th November 2020. That is what happening. There's a table called card activity, something like that. Okay. So it is doing a select statement. Select star from card activity where statement date from 6th October 2020 to 5th November 2020, and it is fetching the data from here and displaying here. Understand everyone what I'm talking? Am I making sense? Alfred, David, Desmond,
Yes,
everyone
sir.
please respond.
Yes.
Sir.
Everyone please respond. Alfred, David, Desmond, Jayashree, Kirti.
Yes, Trishan.
Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is what happening. So without a database, there is nothing. Again this is proved now. Okay, so this is done. So how to do select is also completed. Select can be done whatever the statement. You can use a where clause, where salary greater than 10, where salary less than 10, or where employee ID is equal to 2, where employee name is equal to so and so, something like that. You can use your own methods and you can select the statement. So that is what happening here also. I'm also selecting where clause, where the statement date from this date to this date. So that only that data will be displayed. Okay, if there is no, for example, I want to take where select star from card activity where card statement date from 6th Jan 2021 to present, nothing, no transactions. I did not do any transactions. So empty rows will be coming. Empty rows, there are no transactions. That's it. Simple. Okay. So now what we'll do now, we'll go with, we have completed what, we'll just quickly recap. Create is completed, creating a table. Okay, next select is completed. How to insert is completed. How to insert the data into the table. Next, select is completed. There are different methods to select. Next, updating the table is completed. Once we update, we can commit or we can roll back. So this is completed. If you commit, the data will be displayed to the public. I mean, the updated values also displayed to the public. If they are not committing, only that user can see. Now rollback. If you want to roll back the transaction, you can roll back the transaction. So I'll show you. I'll tell you the rollback in a very live example also. Rollback. What happens? I'll tell you. Lot of people might face this issue. We went to the ATM. We went to an ATM. Okay. We went to an ATM. And we try to withdraw some money. Now everyone has to talk. Okay, when I'm asking you this scenario, how many people face this scenario? You people have to tell me. When I went to an ATM and tried to withdraw some money, for example, I withdraw 2,000 rupees. in my account there are 5,000 rupees. I tried to withdraw 2,000 rupees. Cash did not come to my hand, but suddenly amount got deducted. Cash did not come to my hand, but suddenly amount got deducted. I got a message. Your cash withdrawal from ATM 2,000 is successful. Now the account balance is 3,000 rupees. Now you people will get shocked, right? Hey, cash did not come to my hand, but automatically amount got deducted. What happens is commit will not happen because your work is not yet done. Once cash comes to your hand, then only your work will done. Your transaction is committed. Only once the cash is coming to your hand. Cash did not come to your hand, so commit will not done. Automatic rollback will happen. And after 2 minutes, if you see, the amount will be refunded back to you in your account. How many people face this issue? Almost everyone, I believe so, in your lifetime.
Yes, sir.
Should I call the names or you people can raise your hand? That's okay. How many people it happened? David, Ritvik?
Yeah,
Alfred?
it happened to me, sir.
Yes.
So a lot of people, right? Jayashree, Kirti, can you people respond?
No, sir.
But
Not with the card payments, like with the online payments, it usually happen.
yeah, so that's what I'm telling you. So a lot of things happens, right? So this is how database is actually playing a major role. This is how database is playing a very major role. Okay. So without database, again, there is nothing. So without all these concepts, there is nothing. Commit, rollback, there's nothing. Your transactions will go for a toss. So this is what happens. Automatic rollback will happen and the transaction will be rolled back. Whatever the transaction that you did, that will be rolled back and your amount will be coming back to into your account. So a lot of people till now, how many people are actually in the session? How many people are there in the session? All you people did not know the back-end terminology or back-end technical word or technical subject. What's happening when the transactions are automatic rollback? This is what happens. I showed you practically, right? Commit and rollback. When you commit, it says committed. When you roll back, the transaction is rolled back. This is what happens. Okay. So yeah, commit rollback is completed. Grant revoke is completed. Okay. Insert is completed. Select is completed. Update is completed. Okay. Next, creating a table is completed. Now we will do alter and rename. We will do alter and rename. Why we use alter and rename? Simple. This is the employee table, right? This is the employee table. I want to change the name. To from employee, I want to change the name to employee 1, the table name. Alter table. This is how you do. Alter table employee. Rename to employee 1. Done. Now if you see select star from EMP, if you say select star from EMP, table or view does not exist. Table is not there because it is renamed to employee 1. So you have to do select star from employee 1. Now you will be able to see the data. Again, we'll rename to the original name back. Alter table employee 1, rename to employee. Now again it is renamed to the original name. Select star from employee 1 will not work at this time. Select star from employee will work. Okay. So this is how we are using alter and rename. Alter is used to what? Alter is to alter the structure of the database. Alter is to use the alter the structure, whatever the structure you want. You can actually do it. Rename. Done. Next, only the pending things are drop, truncate, and delete. Drop, truncate, and delete. Only these are the 3 things. Drop, truncate, delete. Why I am telling this at the last? This is an interview question. This is a pakka confirm interview question. That is why I am telling you this at last. What is the difference between drop, delete, and truncate? This is an interview question. What is the difference between drop, delete, and truncate? Now I'll go with one by one. Drop. Drop. What happens when you drop a table? You want to drop a table, for example. What happens? How to drop a table? Simple. I'm not dropping anything, but giving a syntax. Drop table EMP. Drop table EMP. That is how you drop a table. That is how you drop a table. What happens when you drop a table? What happens when you drop a table is important. Next, truncate. Truncate. What happens when you truncate a table? What happens when you truncate a table? How to truncate a table? Again, truncate table. Truncate table EMP. I'm not doing anything, but I'm just showing you. This is how you truncate a table. Next, delete. How to delete a table? Delete star from. Select star from EMP. The same way, delete star from EMP. Simple. Then all three are doing the same job. If you feel like drop is dropping a table, truncate is also truncating a table, and delete is also deleting a table. If you people think like all the three are doing the same job, you are mistaken. You are mistaken. There are differences between drop, delete, and truncate. That I'll explain you now. Okay. Before that, I have to open the whiteboard. So inside the database, there is a file. There is a file where all these tables are stored. All these tables are stored in a file, right? All these tables are stored in a file inside the database. All these tables are stored in a file, which means there is some space that these tables are using. There is some space all these tables are using. All these tables are using the space. Yes. Now, I'll tell you first difference between drop, truncate, and delete. Drop, truncate, and delete. Okay. First, what we will do, we will go with delete. We will go with delete. Okay. First, what? Somebody is raising a hand. What? So drop, delete, and truncate. So what happens when you delete first? The entire data is deleted. The entire data is deleted. See, the data is deleted. But did you delete the structure of the table? No. Structure of the table is not deleted. The only data is deleted. Only data, the columns inside the data, whatever the rows, the data inside the table, the data inside the table is deleted. But the structure remains the same. Structure. This is the structure with the column name, employee ID, e-name, salary. Structure remains the same, and the space allocated to this table, it remains the same. It remains the same. That is delete. Next, drop. What happens in drop? If you drop a table, the entire table is dropped. The entire table is dropped. What happens in a drop? The entire table is dropped. The entire table is dropped. Okay, very good. Including column names also. It is dropped. The entire table is dropped, including columns, data, everything is dropped. But the space allocated to this table remains the same. The space allocated to this table remains the same. And drop. What happens in truncate? What happens if you truncate? If you truncate, what happens? If you truncate, the entire table, space, everything is gone. Now it is a fresh. When you truncate a table, the table is gone. The space allocated to the table is also gone. This space can be used by some other table now. This space can be used by some other table. That is what happens in truncate. So if someone is asking what is the difference between drop, delete, and truncate, delete will delete the data in the table. The structure and the space remains the same. Drop, it drops the table, but the space allocated to the table remains the same. Truncate will truncate the table and also the space allocated, and this space can be used by some other table now. Understood everyone? Difference between drop, delete, and truncate? I want answers, please.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, great. So that's it for the day. We are done with SQL basics. So you people can actually practice whatever I did. So you people can practice it. Okay. And yeah, so as I said, like SQL is having DDL, DML, DCL, TCL, and DRL, something like that. Okay. So everyone is now good with everyone are good with the SQL basics. So what I need you people is I'll give you the recording, I'll give you the class recording, I'll give you the document. Okay, I'll give you the document also, and I'll give you the syntaxes. Okay, what you people have to do, people who already completed database creation, please practice. People who are still they have to complete the database creation, please complete the database creation, because until you have a database you cannot create a user. Only if you have a database you can create a user, and once you have a user then you create all these tables and everything. Users will be creating all these things. Okay, so now question and answer session. If you people have any questions you can ask me. Okay, so for the class, that's it for the session for the day. Okay, thank you everyone, and you can start asking your questions now.